What's going on, everybody? It's Rick from Gardening with Barchuckin. So it's been 2 weeks. This is definitely getting depressed. So that's kind of a nice sign showing that everything's breaking down. I added that real ultra fine shred to the feeding area this last go around. So we'll see if there's any food or paper left. There is some paper. I guess that's the stuff that kind of maybe got matted to the bottom. But not seeing any food scraps. I've been on a kick adding a lot of the pulp food. Basically the leftovers from the juicer. So it's already broke down very fine, and it breaks down fairly quickly in the bin. So no surprise that after 2 weeks there's nothing left. I'm going to go ahead and quick give this a mixing and just see how everything's looking. Okay. Everything's looking great. No funky smells, no anaerobic smells, no acidic smells. Just basically smells like the worm tower. So nothing bad going on. I still have a bunch of this finely shredded paper, which I'm going to add right now. And so you see, it's almost like it's about the size of a grain of rice. It's very neat. So with this time, I tried to add a little bit of the castings and the old bedding to see if that helps to not have as much matted down at the bottom. Plus I left a little layer at the very bottom. I do have the pulp. If you can see the orange and the green, it's like carrots and the spinach and the kale. But I do have something neat that I'm adding. We had some broccoli the other day, so I'm going to be adding the stems. I ended up slicing them and sticking them in the freezer. I forgot to pull them out, so they are going in frozen, which I normally don't do, but the worms have enough space they can move around, get to where they need to be. And then I'm going to top this feeding with a little bit more of the shredded paper and some castings. Oop. It would help if I keep it all in the bin. My ground up eggshell, and I add that all over the feeding zone. The ground up eggshells help to give the worms grit. They take small bites of the bedding, the paper, and the food scraps and the microbes, and then they use that ground up eggshells as they wiggle around to help break the food down. Okay, and I'm noticing I'm having a bunch of lower areas, so what I'm going to do is add some more of that bedding. So that will help kind of to help bulk up the feeding area. Or I should say, and that's going to help bulk up the feeding tray. So now I want to go ahead, and be careful. I have a little baby worm. I don't want to hurt any of my little worms. Okay. And that top feeding tray, all I did was just move it onto the lid. This tray is looking very good, and I hope I have a little bit of time. I will get a harvest going, and I'll record it so I can show you guys how that looks. And just quick go through. So some of this is still around, and I would figure after about a month or so that this would be just about gone. So there could be something either with that paper that it's something that the worms don't like. When I go to harvest, I will be sifting it, and anything that's large will be coming out, and this will probably just go right to the trash if it's not broke down. Oh, still have that. Oh, my pumpkin stem. And everywhere I'm looking, it still has just this red paper. There's a little bit of green, but that's pretty much broke down. So maybe there's something on that red. I don't know. Oops. See, here's more. Okay. It'll be interesting to see this lower level. Now this one, I know from past, the cardboard likes to stick up underneath, so I'm just going to take my hand and run it underneath. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of clumps. Oh, we'll get the worm back in there. Now this is a great thing for you to see. See, there's the red, the green, and white. In that tray that I just moved out, it has all the red, but pretty much the green and the white has all disappeared or been consumed, broke down, however you want to look at it. In this tray, it was just cardboard that I started wetting down, and you can see all the castings. I do see some worms, like right here and here. Here, I'm going to go ahead and start to mix this up, incorporate, and see how this tray is looking. So this is the one thing, when it goes a long time, basically it pushes out all the air, so everything gets matted. We want air in our worm bins. So see how it's just kind of a big block. So I want to break all that up as much as I can. Well, I'm pretty pleased with that. Now to see how some of these lower, well, this lower tray's looking. And wow, there is a bunch of worm activity. But these guys are going to go back into that lower tray right now. So wow, look at that. I've decided to live in harmony with the worms. If they want to come down here, hang out, and party, I'm all for it. Old me would have been freaking out, worried about it, trying to get them all up. I just let them have a little party down there. one thing to remember, there's these little tabs. They have to go inside that square basin. And then when this tray goes on, there's little corner pieces that it basically has to hook into. Here's all the castings slash coffee grounds that have gone through, because I did add coffee grounds when I mixed up that set of bedding. And like I said, this is ready for a harvest. I just have to kind of get the time, do that. I will bring you along, show you that. So if you guys have any questions about harvesting, you can ask it in this. And when I do the harvest, I'll go ahead and try to answer your questions. And then finally, the feeding tray. I do want to add a little bit of water to the new areas where I added some fresh bedding. And then finally, I like to add a little bit of worm chow to the feeding area. This goes ahead and gives the worms a little something to eat right now as the food scraps and the broccoli start to break down. Then when it's ready, they can go after that feeding zone, but this will be available for the worms right away. It's expired flour, cornmeal, Quaker oats, and a little bit of ground up eggshell. And then it's been a little while since I kind of went into this. This is a coconut coir mat, and I don't know if you can see it through, if it's coming through on the screen or not, but I can see some worms underneath. They're actually breaking that mat down right now. Well, if you guys have any questions, drop them down below. Thanks for coming along, checking out the video. Everybody have a great day.